Hey, everybody. Welcome to another one of our live workshops. I'm Lee Blue, the founder of DoubleStack, and I want to take today and do something a little bit different from what we normally do. Normally, we'll talk a lot about, like business strategy, finding how to find better clients, different ways to market your business, things like that. But today, I want to talk about the 5 things that tend to hold most web designers back from building the kind of business that they really want, generating the kind of revenue they need, finding the right kinds of clients. Rather than talking about like new marketing strategies, let's talk a little bit about what I call it the 5 bars of web design prison. Now, not everybody has all 5 problems, but most of the, I've now personally consulted with over 100 different double stackers and have talked to thousands of people and conferences and this group here where we have almost 2,000 members. And I've talked to a ton of people, and I'm noticing a consistent set of 5 things that holds almost everybody back. And again, not everybody has all 5 things, but the problems that you have are probably within this set. And if you could then somehow kind of break through these problems, then that will give you access to building a really awesome business where you're generating a 6-figure income, working with awesome clients, you have the lifestyle that you need, and you're not bothered with all of these low budget, frustrating, exhausting clients. And but before we begin, you got to have 2 things in mind. You have to understand 2 points that are really important. One point is it's not your fault. The reason that clients aren't willing to pay the rates that you want and the reason that you haven't gotten your business to the place that you want isn't your fault. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second. But I don't want anybody to come at this from a point of embarrassment or shame or anything like that, because it isn't your fault, and I'm going to tell you why. But then the second thing is you got to get real with yourself. You have to get real and take a real look at what's actually going on, and then have the commitment to do something about it. And so with those 2 things in mind, let's talk about what the 5 things are that tend to be causing all these problems for everybody. And the first one is just kind of lying to yourself about the situation. Like, it's really easy to downplay what's really going on and saying, well, things aren't the only reason things are bad right now is because of something, and then that thing is going to go away and then it'll get all better. And not really taking a full view of what's really going on so that you can actually do something proactive to resolve the problem. Or saying something like, I just need to find better clients. Like, if the problem isn't on me, the problem's on them. It's I just have to find better clients, without recognizing, well, maybe it's your marketing that's attracting the wrong clients, right? And so just like telling yourself things that aren't really true, that it's going to get better in the future, when you really know that you're going to have to do something to make it get better in the future. Otherwise, it's just going to keep getting worse. Or what about like everybody's broke all the time? Nobody has any money to invest in things. People can tell themselves that, thinking, it's not my pricing, it's not my marketing, it's not my offer, it's that everybody else is broke, and that's why I'm not finding the clients. But of course, in DoubleStack, like just this past week, I think we've probably onboarded over $30,000 worth of new business. And it's like, that's awesome. So it's not the case that everybody's broke. But it's easy to tell yourself that, to kind of make it seem, well, it's not my marketing, it's not my web design, it's not my skills, not anything else. It's a problem from someone else. And so one of the big hurdles is just overcoming the obstacle of just telling yourself stuff that isn't true, to kind of make the problem not seem like it's that big of an issue. And then that holds you back. That means you can't bust through. That means you can't fix it. Like, if you don't recognize what the problem is, you can't fix it. And that's a big issue. Here's another one that comes up all the time. People say, well, if I can get in front of clients, like if I could just get in front of more clients, like once that happens, I always win. Like, everybody wants to work with me. If I could just get the meeting, if I could just get someone on the phone, then, it's like 90% chance that they're going to work with me, right? Well, the truth is, why are they meeting with you in the first place? It's probably because they already want to hire you. And so it's a misunderstanding of what's really going on to tell yourself, well, I just need to get in front of more people, and if I could, then I have a 90% success rate closing the deal or something like that. But the problem is, why don't more people want to sit down with you, right? Is it your marketing? Is it your pricing? Is it your offer? Is it, what's going on? And so just telling yourself, I just need to get in front of more people without fixing the actual problem doesn't solve the issue, and then you kind of stay stuck, and you just have to take on these $1,500 or $2,500 projects, and it's exhausting, it's low budget, it's frustrating, and you're just taking on these odd jobs, and it's not building the business that you really want, and it's just a big mess. But rather than really taking a real deep look at what's going on, then it's like you can't fix it. And it's not really even your fault, right? So the reason that it's not your fault is because you've probably done all the things that everybody said to do, right? And we'll talk a little bit more in detail about your own marketing and what the implications are. But like, you've probably built a great website, and you've probably gone on social media, and you probably stalked Facebook groups, and you all of the things that everybody says to do. You're probably doing the things, and that's why it's not your fault that you're not getting better results. The problem is the input that people are giving you is low value input that doesn't work anymore. And it might have been good advice like 5 years ago when Upwork wasn't around, and when Fiverr wasn't around, and when Wix was total trash, and when nobody had any way of getting online. The old advice might have worked out pretty well, but now things are really different. In addition to all of the new competition that's out there, we also have a new economic situation that's out there. And so it takes a new approach, a new way to connect with clients, which again is why you have to kind of be honest with yourself and think, well, what's really going on here and how can I fix it? Rather than saying, oh, it's not that bad, I'll do something about it later, it'll just fix itself. Because that's one of the bars that's kind of holding you back with regard to actually building the real business that you really want. And so getting real with yourself is just another way of talking about it. Like, just ask yourself a couple questions, like how long can you just keep going, just kind of barely making it? Or like, how much revenue did you make last month? How much money did you make the month before that? How much money have you made this year? Is that the kind of thing that's going to work for you ongoing? Or do you need to do something about that? Do you need to fix that? Right? Or maybe you're saying, well, you're just getting started. And well, how long can you just be in just getting started mode before you run out of runway and have to do something desperate, right? So you just got to get real with yourself with those types of things. But what if your marketing sucks, right? Like, what if you're not attracting the right clients because their marketing is wrong? Or like, how do you know if all this stuff is going to work out? And so just getting real with yourself is a big deal. And that's thing number one. Thing number two that tends to kind of drive everybody off the rails is just trying to do everything by yourself all the time, right? And so, but just because you're in the group already means that you're not necessarily in the same group of people that are just kind of lone wolf, lone ranger kind of whatever, just do it yourself kind of people, because here we are in the group together, and that's obviously a great first step. But a lot of times people will think, well, I figured all this stuff out on my own, I'll figure all the rest of this stuff out on my own too. But it's too hard, right? It's like, if you had all the time in the world, I'm sure you could do it, but don't you want better clients immediately? Like, don't you want your business to grow now? It's like, how much longer can you go without doing it? And it takes a lot of things. And it's not just, can you build really good websites? Like, that's probably one of the things that matters the least when it comes to winning clients, because they don't even have any experience with your websites yet. Like, they don't know anything about that. So that doesn't come until after you actually get the client, where obviously you have to be able to build great websites. But that's not what's holding you back from building your business. Like, what if your marketing sucks? Like, that's usually the first thing. It's like you're not attracting the clients you need in the first place. And so if you don't fix that, you never even get a chance to build the websites and show people what your skills are like. So it's not that your skills are holding you back. It could be your marketing's holding you back. Or what about attracting the types of clients that can't even afford your projects? What about that? Or what if your marketing is putting a mindset in your clients that when they hire you, it's going to be cheap? That's something that you need to figure out. And so then you think, well, okay, you probably need to at least double, maybe even 10x your pricing. And we're going to talk about pricing in a second, but that could be one of the big things that's holding you back. And then, well, what does that mean about how you actually meet with clients? Like, how do you onboard clients if you're going to charge 10 times more than everybody else? Like, can you do that? That's a thing that you have to fix. And so trying to figure all of that stuff out by yourself is the kind of thing that stalls people out for extended periods of time, if not indefinitely, if not to the point where they've burnt out and they run out of runway and they have to go then, do something else. And so wouldn't it be great if, hey, over the next couple of weeks, I just figure all of that stuff out and I have it all done for me with somebody who knows how to do this and is getting results and all this other stuff. And now it's fixed. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. And now you really do get a chance to use your awesome skills. Like, that is a really huge piece of the puzzle. And just trying to do it yourself. So the thing number one is just not getting real with yourself. Thing number two is trying to do everything by yourself, including not only just the skills. Some people are like, well, what can I put in a monthly retainer that's going to be worth $1,000 a month or whatever? Like, maybe you don't have the skills for that. Maybe you're trying to figure things out, like landing pages and email marketing and drip campaigns and sales funnels and lead magnets and all that kind of stuff. Like, maybe that's something you want to figure out. Why try to figure it out all by yourself when somebody can just show you how to do it in a couple of days and then boom, now you have that skill? So, it could be skills, it could be marketing, it could be onboarding clients, it could be attracting clients, all of those types of things. It's too much to, like, if you're literally serious about your business and you want to achieve these kinds of results as fast as possible, doing it all by yourself is not the way to go. And everyone knows that. Well, everyone probably intuitively knows that, but doesn't take the next jump to do anything about it, which is usually because of problem number one, which is you're not getting real with yourself. You're just kind of pushing off problems into the future. So then the third thing is picking the wrong kind of help. And so this tends to happen in one of two ways. One way that it happens is people will say, well, I'm not winning clients, so I need to learn a new skill. And so they'll say, well, I'm already good at building websites and web design, but wouldn't it be great if I could do social media marketing? Or if I knew how to run Twitter ads or something like that. And so then you go get help to learn how to do another thing. And so you add more skills, but that doesn't solve the problem of not attracting the clients, right? So like you never get a chance to use the skills unless you solve the right problem. So one of the problems that I've seen with people kind of picking the wrong help, if you want to call it that, is you pick help for solving an issue that's not really the problem. Like if you're not getting people to hire you to build websites, then learning how to do social media management or something isn't going to solve the problem of not getting clients. It's just going to maybe even exacerbate the problem because now you have multiple services that nobody wants to hire you for. What you really need to do is you need to get help solving your marketing problem, right? You need help finding clients, getting in front of the clients with the right story to attract people that are going to be willing to pay you the rates that you want to charge. So a lot of times people, get help solving a problem that isn't really the actual problem. But then the other problem is sometimes people will say, okay, well, I need like business coaching. I need marketing help or something. And then they'll go and start working with like a business coach, like a generic business coach that just coaches all businesses, not someone who just helps only web designers. And so like one of the big things that DoubleStack is really, really designed for is exclusively working with web designers who want to build a six-figure business that you can run out of your house kind of on your own with like you or maybe just you and one or two other people. That's the whole concept. And so if that's what you want, but then you go to somebody who's just going to generically help with marketing or business consulting, but they don't really know you and they don't know your situation and they haven't been through that situation themselves, and instead they have coaches, they coach people with how to get better, more clients for their dental practice and how to get more clients for their industrial design business. And then they can help you with your web design business. Like you don't get the help that you need. It's too broad. It's too generic. They don't know where you've been. They don't know what you're going through. They don't know the details of what has evolved over the past, 5 years or so in the small business web design space. And so you end up getting help that doesn't really give you the power that you need to actually solve the problems that you're going through. Or another issue can be sometimes you think you're getting involved with that sort of a thing, but the real problem is you're just getting lost in the crowd. And like you're one of like 1,000 people going through an online course, something like that. And so then you have to ask yourself, well, is this program that I'm going through, is it designed for my success as the web designer who really needs the help? Or is this designed for the course creator's success who just wants to run as many people through it as they can? And that's a question to ask. So like if you're just in a group of like 1,000 people, all of whom kind of are just getting pushed like cattle through this course, then that's going to be an issue. So like, and how do you get the personal attention? Like how do you get someone to say, hey, can you look at my website and tell me if I'm saying the right things here? Or can you look at my proposals to see if I've really written this properly, and look at my pricing to see if my pricing is dialed into what it needs to be for who I'm trying to reach? Like if those are the kinds of questions on your mind, and you're just one of 1,000 people going through an online course where you don't even have access to the course creator, or if you do, it's in like this gigantic group call where you don't even get to ask questions, you just have to sit there and listen most of the time, then you don't get the help that you really need. And that's a huge problem. And that holds people back from being able to actually make the forward progress that you want, which is why DoubleStack is in that way. I work with like maybe 15 or 20 people at a time total. And once I get to that many people, then I don't invite any more people into DoubleStack until other people graduate and we can keep it small so that I can personally work with you to make sure that all of this stuff happens for you so that you know what to say on your website and in person and in your client meetings and in your proposals and in your marketing. And we create all that stuff together and we kind of work one-on-one with all of that stuff. So that's a big thing. And then the last thing about picking the wrong help it's kind of like what we were talking about before about trying to, trying to just learn a new thing, right? And this kind of goes back again to the first problem of just not getting real with yourself. Like, is the reason that you're not landing clients because you don't know how to run Facebook ads? Or is the reason you're not landing clients because you don't have any clients to land? Like, because you're not attracting anyone to you. And so then if you feel like, well, I need to learn how to do this other new skill, like I got to write JavaScript code better, or if I only knew CSS, then I could do something better. Or if I upgraded to this new Photoshop or whatever, then I would be able to, that's not the problem. And so a lot of times people think, well, I just need help incrementally. Like I just need to learn a new thing. I just need more information about how to do a thing. And now I've got a better business. When really what you need is like a foundational shift. Like you need something that's more transformative rather than informative. And so Ralph says, I've tried several VAs. They didn't work out. Yeah, that's true. So, that's another thing. It's like you don't want to, a lot of times, like I know Ralph said he's tried working with VAs, but sometimes people kind of, even in this group, sometimes they'll think, well, maybe I should be a VA, like a virtual assistant, which is the opposite approach to what we're trying to do. Like a virtual assistant, like, hey, I know how to do a wide variety of things. Hire me to do anything that you tell me to do, and I'll just kind of do it for cheap. And what we want to be doing instead is actually saying, hey, here's how you can get a really cool outcome, and I can help you achieve that. And that's why it's worth a lot more, or 10 times more than what other people are charging for just random generic stuff. So we're up to 3 things now. First is just not getting real with yourself. Second is trying to do everything by yourself all alone. Third is just picking the wrong kind of help, which we were just talking about, all different kinds of ways to kind of fall off the mark by picking the wrong kind of help. Well, the fourth problem that I see all the time is people just working so hard to attract bad clients. You know what I mean? It's like spending all this time on Facebook to try to, to like stalking all these different groups and then hoping somebody jumps into the group saying, hey, I'm looking for a website. And then like 10,000 people all jump onto that and say, hey, PM me here, I'll comment there. And like just trying to, everybody just kind of fights and it's this price race to the bottom. And it's like, you don't even want the client in the first place, right? Like you want to be charging somewhere north of $5,000 every single project. And people posting comments on Facebook aren't the clients that are A, going to pay that, and B, the real clients you really want aren't in those groups, right? Like say, what if you want to work with, who do you want to work with? Like just think in your mind, like type into the comments who you want to work with right now. Like who would be an ideal client of yours? Like literally write that in the comments right now. Is it like a fitness coach? Is it would it be like restaurant owners? Would it be psychologists? Would it be dentists, doctors, electricians, roofers, real estate agents? Like who is it that you really want to be working with? Like most of my clients tend to be in the health space, like functional medicine doctors, naturopaths, dietitians, kind of people in that group. Those are the people I want to be working with. And they're never in Facebook groups. Never. I don't even know they have Facebook accounts. And they're never stalking Facebook groups. They never jump into Facebook and say, man, I wish I had a better website. Who wants to build one for me, right? They're too busy doing their actual business, right? They're too busy helping people with their dietary concerns and, getting people back on track from gluten sensitivity and diabetes and blood sugar issues and dairy allergies and all these. They're too busy learning about those types of things, and they're not in web design Facebook groups hoping somebody will give them a cheap website. So that's one of the big problems, is just working really, really hard to attract bad clients. Like how much time do you spend in these groups? Or what about branding yourself as a web designer, right? It's like most of the time, business owners aren't looking for web designers unless they have in mind that they want a cheap website, right? So that's going to be a big problem. So branding yourself or marketing yourself in a way that gives people the mindset that when they hire you, you're going to be inexpensive. Or the things that you sell are affordable marketing, affordable websites, those types of things. And people work really, really hard to put the wrong impression in people's minds. And then they're like, well, I don't know how to fix it. All the clients that I attract have no budget, right? So what I end up hearing is the end result of it. It's like, man, I'm getting some leads, but all the leads are for cheap websites, or nobody has a real budget to invest in anything. And then even if I tell them $2,000, I'm cringing because they're like, really? It's going to cost that much? And then you think, well, why are they coming to you thinking that $2,000 is expensive? Is it because They don't think websites cost $2,000? Probably so. And you probably branded yourself as someone who builds websites, and websites aren't $2,000. They're like $15 a month on Wix, right? Like that's the mentality. But people work really, really hard to put the wrong impression in people's heads. And they spend a lot of time in places where the bad clients are hanging out. Like the high stress, low budget, give me everything yesterday kind of clients are the ones that you find on Upwork and Fiverr and Facebook groups and things like that. And people stalk those places to try to find work because they don't know what else to do, which goes back to, again, the first thing that we talked about. It's not your fault. Like you've probably read that those, like if you're like me and followed like the WordPress news and things like that, there's all different kinds of places to get web design and WordPress news and things like that. And like a lot of people will just kind of blurt out a bunch of ways to go find clients. And those are probably the things that you did. Stalk Facebook groups, post comments, blog about stuff for free, like all of the, give free site audits for people, do all this free work, and then maybe somebody will hire you. And it's really hard and really long. But that's not going to help. That's not what you need to do. And you don't even need to take on free clients to build a portfolio, which is another thing that people spend so much time in. We've actually had entire sessions here where we talk specifically about how you don't have to have a portfolio as long as you have a strong offer for how you can help somebody. But people spend tons of time. Like they literally will take on 3, 4, 5, 10 projects, like friends and family discount style projects, just to build a portfolio. And before you know it, you've run out of time. Like you don't have any time to actually do real work because you've run out of runway doing free work for everybody. And so, this one of these big things that just holds people back all the time is just working so hard to attract bad, cheap clients and never really putting anything in place to get the great kinds of clients that you really want that will sustain your business and give you the life you want. And again, this is such an important thing because it's literally your life we're talking about. Like it's your freedom, your income, and not just you, it's like your family, your children. It's like everything surrounding your life and the things that you want to be doing are basically in prison because of these problems. And so if you really want to solve those issues, these are the 5 things you got to get rid of. So just working so hard to attract these bad clients. And then the last one is undercharging. The last one is just flat out not charging enough for your work. And kind of like we talked about just a few minutes ago, it's like most of the people that I talk to should at least double their rates, at least double. And in fact, most of the time when I start working with somebody, we like 10x your pricing. Like for example, just a couple weeks ago, I was working with somebody who had never sold a website for over $2,500. And then she landed a client for over $20,000. So in a matter of like 2 weeks. And has since onboarded like another like $8,000 project on top of that. So like $30,000, of new income in the past 3 weeks, simply because, well, not simply, we did a bunch of we changed the marketing, we changed the branding, we changed a bunch of other things. But the big thing we changed is we just charged a lot more. And the thing that I think is confusing about charging more is you don't just keep offering the same thing and then just crank the price up 10x. Because if you did that, then you would be gouging. It's like you need to do more than just charge more for websites. And but the problem is, if you're not charging enough, you don't give yourself the opportunity to have the time it takes to do the work necessary to create outcomes, to create actual results for your clients. And if you're not creating the results, then your client has to value your services based on the tools that you use. And one of the huge shifts, like one of the biggest and most important things that we do in DoubleStack is creating a new story for your business, like a new foundational shift for your business where you're able to put the value on the outcomes that you create rather than putting the value on the tools you use to create the outcomes, right? And it's kind of difficult to think through in an abstract way, but if you want to talk about it specifically for your clients and the types of businesses that you're trying to work with, we can get on the phone and talk about that together kind of one-on-one. But that's the big shift. Like if you're attracting clients based on marketing yourself as someone who knows how to do tools, use certain tools, or do certain services, then what's going to happen is the clients are going to think of your value based on the value of those tools, right? And you don't want that. You want people to think of you based on the value of the results you get for people, because that's the key to charging like 10 times more. Think about it in a different context. Think about it in like houses or something like that, like architecture, like construction. It's like you don't want people to hire you for whatever rate they would hire you because you have a hammer or because you have some wood, right? You want people to hire you because you just built $1 million mansion. You see what I mean? It's like the value is in the $1 million mansion. The value is not in the hammer, the nails, and the wood, right? It's your ability to put all that stuff together to create this really awesome outcome. So that's the key. And we need to do that in the context of your business and your web design skill set. But not just your web design skill set, other things too, right? Like bring in all of your life experience, like the things that you spent the last 10 years learning how to do, right? Like that means you're probably better at certain industries than you are at other industries, right? Like for me, I just talked about, hey, I'm really good at the medical world. Like I know a lot about gluten sensitivity, autoimmune disease, fitness, health, like all of those. And I know how to attract clients for that stuff too. And so if somebody comes to me from that part of the world, the part where they're really concerned about health, I'm awesome at that. Whereas if somebody came to me because, they wanted to start up something like a moving company or something like that. It's like, I don't know. I've never worked with a moving company. I don't know what they need. Right. So it's like, you want to be able to take advantage of your life business experience, like for your ability to actually do business consulting for people because you know what it takes to be successful in that industry. So bring that into the mix. And then also think about what it is that you're passionate about, right? So you might know a lot about something just because your parents had a business doing a thing or whatever, but maybe you don't care, right? Maybe what you're really interested in is something else. Well, bring that into the mix. Like bring all of your skills, your interest, things that you know about your passions, and just bundle all of that together. And now you've really got something that's valuable there. And so that's one of the big issues with undercharging. It's like you're not tapping into your life. You're not tapping into the stuff that's valuable. Instead, you're out there competing with people on Upwork and Fiverr and Craigslist and Facebook and people that are just getting started when you've got 10 or 20 years of experience doing something. But that all of that experience is sitting on the shelf, not doing anything for you because you're marketing your business exactly like someone who just is getting started. And that's why you can only charge the rates of people who are just getting started, because at this point in the client relationship where they haven't hired you for anything, they're just looking at your marketing versus their marketing. Everybody's saying the same stuff. Everybody's saying web design, graphic design, branding, logos, social media management. Everybody, even people who only built one website in their life, they still say the same stuff. And you're not tapping into all the stuff that you've really got experience doing. So that's a big factor of undercharging. Another big factor of undercharging is simply fear. Like they're like, man, I'm not getting any clients at $2,000. If I charge $4,000, I'll really not get any clients. So I've got to lower my price to like $1,500 or something like that. And then you just you're in this price race down to the bottom. And so fear tends to hold people back. And if you don't know how to market yourself, you're right? If you keep marketing yourself as someone who just does web design, then you're going to have to keep lowering your price because the price of web design keeps going down. And if you think you're going to raise your price while everybody else is lowering their price and your marketing is the same as their marketing, nobody's going to hire you. So that is true. That is a thing. But a lot of times it's really just fear. It's being like, well, nobody can afford $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 websites. Nobody can afford that. And then that goes back to number one, which was just not getting real with yourself, right? Just like telling yourself, nobody hires people for $5,000, $10,000 websites. When of course that's not true. We do that every day. Like that's the whole point of DoubleStack is all of your clients are north of at least 3,000 and usually up towards 10, 15, 20, things like that. So but a lot of times it's just fear. Hey, if I tell people a huge price and they're going to freak out and they're going to be like, dude, you're so much more. I got to go to the next guy down the road or do same stuff for less, that kind of a thing. And then the last part about undercharging, which I don't know, this doesn't really fit into the same category, but it's more of a mindset thing, but it contributes to undercharging, is it's just kind of building a business that's never going to meet your goals. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people are out there looking for clients, right? Like looking for odd jobs. Just let me take a job here, let me take a job there, let me help you with this, let me do that. And it's just kind of pulling stuff from all over the place, and it's not really high value, not like a high ticket thing. It's just I'm just pulling random jobs to try to stay alive, as opposed to actually building a solid business that generates consistent revenue for you. That's actually that you can scale. Like have the right strategies, have the right systems in place, have like a legitimate foundation, and like really build a business that scales so that you can get into the six figures on your own, right? Like make 10 grand a month, just kind of buy yourself out of your house. And then if you want to scale it up into an agency, you've really got a real business that you can build on. But a lot of people are just stuck, just, begging for work, basically, like just taking odd jobs here and there because they don't really have a business. They're just kind of trying to make random jobs for themselves. And a lot of times the process of doing that, you just undercharge for your work and kind of become sort of like a VA. I'll just do anything for anybody, just pay me. And that's not a business. That's not anything. That's just begging for work and just taking random jobs. But instead of that, why not build a real business where you actually do a thing that actually contributes to other people in a valuable way, and then charge enough to do it, right? Like charge enough to give yourself the resources and the time to be able to do that stuff so that you can then actually drive these really awesome outcomes for people. And that will fundamentally change your entire business, where you can charge like 10 times more than everybody else. You're not competing with everybody on Upwork and Facebook and Craigslist and everywhere else. You're actually set apart from that in a dramatic way because you don't market yourself that way anymore. You don't just go out there and say, I build websites for anybody who'll hire me. Instead, you present outcomes for people that really need that type of help. And right now is when people need your help the most. It's like there's so much going on in the economy right now, and all of it is stuff that you can help with. Oh, maybe not all of it, but a ton of stuff. Like people need to get their businesses online, and the stuff that we can do for people with the internet and internet marketing is more important now than I can ever remember before. And they need your help, but they're not looking for cheap websites. That's where the disconnect is. And so I kind of feel like I'm sort of personally on a mission to reunite people like us, people that really know how to help people, with business owners who really need the help, even though they're not looking for websites. That's the key, right? It's like you don't want to be marketing these cheap services because nobody's looking for it. And that kind of goes back to, I think, what was it, the third thing we were talking about? Maybe the second thing, just about just kind of working really hard to attract. I think it was the fourth thing. It looks like here, I have my notes open. The fourth thing is just working really hard to attract bad clients by hanging out in the wrong places, marketing yourself in the wrong way. Like fixing that solves all of these problems. So like if you can reunite yourself with clients that really need your help in order to actually get their business back online and growing and thriving in kind of this new, like heavily digital age that we're into now, huge wins for everybody wins. You get paid a lot of money because you're doing something really valuable. Your client gets these awesome outcomes that they wouldn't be able to have without you. And now their customers can enjoy their services when otherwise they might be blocked out because of other new restrictions in place. Like everybody wins when you do it in this other way. Whereas everybody loses if you do it the old way. Like if you just go out there and say, I'll just do free work or really cheap work for anybody who'll hire me, well, then you lose right off the bat because you don't find clients that really want anything valuable. You're stressing yourself out. You're just pulling random jobs here and there. You're not really building a business. It's, your family's suffering, your kids are suffering, everybody's suffering. And then your client's suffering too because you don't have the time to do anything that really matters if they're just going to give you $1,000 or whatever. It's like you need more time than that to generate some results. So they don't get any outcomes. So now they're over there in their business. They're still suffering too, right? They're not getting the results that they need, or the new clients, or the new exposure, or any of that other stuff because they didn't hire you for enough time for you to be able to do anything. So like they lose. It's like, and then now their family's suffering too. Like everybody loses the old way. Everybody wins the new way. And that's really the whole point of why I wanted to come in here and talk to you about these things, because those are the 5 things. Like if you fix, or if you find that you have any of those 5 problems and you fix them, the upside is dramatic. It's a huge difference where now suddenly you've got the revenue coming in that you need and the lifestyle that you want. And not only are you and your family and your children, everybody's happier and better off, but you can say, hey, look, I'm helping them. And now look how much better they're doing too. And like, you just feel so much joy from being able to help everybody. And it's great. And it's a wonderful feeling to have, both in terms of what it does for your own life and how you can help other people, and everybody's winning. But you got to fix these 5 things. I'll just quickly summarize them real quick. You got to get real with yourself, right? You got to say, hey, what's really happening in my business? And then just be decisive and committed. Just be ready to do something about it. Realizing, hey, it's not your fault. Like you probably did all the stuff that everybody said to do, but it doesn't work now in this new environment anymore. And it just exacerbates the problem. So it's not your fault, but you do have to be real with yourself and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do something about it. right? So no shame, no blame, nothing like that. Just let's be real with it. We got to do something about it. So that's the first thing. And then but trying to do it by yourself is a huge problem that takes too long to actually get the results you want because there's too much involved. Like, what are the new skills you need to know? How do you do the marketing? How do you market your business in a way that doesn't sound like everybody else and attracts people looking for these high value solutions? And once you attract the clients, how do you actually meet with the clients? And what does that mean about your proposals? And how do you structure your pricing and the client onboarding experience? It's like all of those things need to be addressed, and trying to do it by yourself takes forever because the only way to really do it is trial and error, which means you got to blow through a bunch of leads doing it the wrong way before you figure it out, which of course is why most people fail because they blow through all their leads, they never figure it out, and then they have to go do something else. So trying to do it yourself is thing number 2. Picking the wrong help is thing number 3. Just trying to figure out, well, should I hire like this person that can just do generic business coaching or mindset training or just something really generic that's not really going to help me? Or can I find somebody who knows how to build a small business web design firm and kind of work with that group? Or trying to get the wrong help by just adding a new skill, trying to just add more skills into the mix rather than really fixing the problem that's causing all of the issues, which is probably your marketing, probably your pricing, probably your client onboarding experience, maybe your proposal structure. Like all of those types of things are probably what the real problem is. It's not that you don't write JavaScript code, right? It's like it's something else. And so, but a lot of people pick the wrong help. They're like, well, if I was a Node.js expert, then I could find better clients. When the truth is, you're not landing the clients because your marketing sucks. You're not attracting the right people, and you never get a chance to even tell them what your skills are. So that's a big issue. Just kind of picking the wrong help. Then spending too much time working too hard to attract bad clients, and then finally undercharging. So if you feel like any of these 5 things are things that you want to overcome and you're serious about really building up your business, then let's get on the phone and talk about it, man. It's like the whole point of me doing these live workshops like we're doing right now and then offering to do free phone calls for people is because I want to help you. I want to help you do this and get you on the right track, because not only is it super fun for me, like I love to talk about this stuff, and I've been doing it almost 20 years now, but I also love seeing the results. Like when I get to mail out one of these trophies right here, this is the DoubleStack 5-figure family trophy. And like, I can remember putting these things in the mail almost with like tears in my eyes over how excited I was for people like you being able to, have the revenue that it takes to really help your family. And, I know that so many people are struggling, and you got children that have special needs, or you got, you just lost your job and you don't know what to do, or maybe your spouse is sick or something like that. And there's all these problems going on, and making some money would really help. And to be able to contribute to that, I can get really emotional about it. But when I can send out one of these things, it's awesome. And so, if that's one of the things that you want to feel like, man, how can I do that? And you've got the skills, let's get on the phone and talk about it so that we can really make this come to life for you, so that not only is your life better, but your parents' lives are better, your children, whatever, your clients' lives are better. It's like everyone wins with this. And we can make it happen. And if it doesn't, like if I don't feel like it's going to work for you for some reason, like if you're just getting started and you don't have the right skill set yet, or you're not ready to bring on a $10,000 client or something, then I'll tell you. I'll say, hey, here's a better approach that we can do for now. And then when you're ready, then we can talk about DoubleStack, and maybe it'll be a better fit for you at that time. It's like, I'm not going to put you into a situation where I don't feel 100% confident that you're going to be successful. I don't invite everybody into. That's why DoubleStack is an invitation-only course, because I don't invite everybody into it, right? You have to be able to be successful at this, and we'll talk about that to make sure it's a good fit for both of us. But if it is, then we'll fix these 5 problems, right? Like, we'll get you the right clients, we'll get you the right marketing, we'll get you the right kind of website, we'll get you the right story to tell when you're in front of people, so that you're expressing to people how you help them, not the individual things you do for them, not the raw skills. You're not selling the hammer, you're selling the mansion. You see what I mean? And that's what we want to do for you. So if that sounds good to you, head over to doublestack.net/call. doublestack.net/call. You'll see my calendar pop up, and just pick a time that works for you. I've tried to make as much of my time as available for this as I can. But again, it's just me, right? Like, you're not going to be talking to anybody other than me. So I only have so many spots available. So head over there while you can grab a spot, and you'll see my calendar pop. Find a time. Right after you pick the time, you're going to see a little form, like a little application pop up, so that I can get some more information about you, so that when we get on the phone, we can really make as much use of our time as we can. We'll talk for about 45 minutes, maybe about an hour, something like that. And in the application, we'll say, hey, here's my website. Here's what I usually charge for my projects. These are the types of clients that I've been working with. And man, I really feel like this is a big thing I'm struggling with. Just kind of give me some of that information, so that when we get on the phone, boom, we're gonna take care of those things. And then you'll be off to the races, right? So you'll kind of break through these 5 bars that are kind of holding you in this web design prison. So there we go. So head over to doublestack.net/call. Find an awesome time that's going to work great for you. We'll get on the phone and we'll really start diving into this stuff, so you can really get a business that's going to be the kind of business that you want, give you the freedom, the lifestyle, the income, just have the ability to help people at this deeper level, so that it's better for you, it's better for them, it's better for their clients. Everybody's winning. So head over to doublestack.net/call, and it'll be awesome. Look forward to talking to you. High five for the week, and good seeing you guys today. Take care, and we'll check in again next Tuesday. Bye.